Welcome to the module on finding resources around your home and school for an authentic real world classroom. This is a chime that actually was given to me by a child, but for years we've used gongs and chimes from yards and all kinds of things. One of my friends even opens her class with a drum beat. So anything that you have that would help say, this is something special. We're all gathering together to introduce this new unit of study or these great new supplies or whatever. This would be the great calling for that meeting to begin. And it's how we love to start our days. Another thing we like to do that's a ritual for us is these awesome bags. I went to the fabric store and just picked out all different kinds of fabrics of different sizes, and a mom stitched them together and put a little drawstring up there so we can use this great mystery bag for anything with science or seasons. And of course, look, you could do anything too. So the kids love having their name randomly chosen from a random cup, and each child then gets a turn to open something special, right? I use these throughout the day. Okay. It's a real privilege to get to open the bag and get to see what's in it to set the stage for the next learning. It just builds excitement and makes you want to be there to see what exciting thing is going to happen next, right? Writing, you really want to have neat resources for writing. And it's funny because sometimes adults have things that kids adore, post-it notes, of all kinds, sizes, shapes, and colors. And kids just adore getting to use those. Some can even make little books from them. I've collected things from over the years, just pads of paper and little notebooks. Um, Having blank spaces is really important too. Who wouldn't want to use this guy? Anything that helps you investigate time, anything to count. So, whether it's popsicle sticks or pieces of cereal, beans, or anything that you have that can help kids really investigate that. The nice thing about these two is you can put them in groups of fives or tens, which for little kids is really important. And the ability to um, put them in groups and bundle them becomes really apparent in kindergarten and first grade who can do that and who hasn't learned it yet, right? So, getting them exposed to things, all of these are things easily found at homes. Rulers are great, and this ruler is especially magical because it's way bigger and the kids can roll it out across the floor. When we studied animals and realized that the male polar bear was 10 feet long, imagine 10 feet rolled out. Everybody is in awe. By the way, that was a fact in the PDF on 7 easy ways to start your classroom resources. If you haven't gotten that, send me an email and I'll make sure you get it. Okay, so it's just amazing and really brings math into real life. It's not just a number you read in a book, but it's something that means something to you, right? When you have this, um, we love using pointers to point out things you're reading in books or point out things on maps. Kids will love pointers of all kinds. They can be stirrers or kitchen tools or popsicle sticks or something fancy ones or anything from their play toy chest too might work. Um, and then dice is something we use all the time. You're going to hear more about that when we talk about authentic ways of building math in math museums. So that is coming. Um, Hundreds boards, you can make your own, which I'd highly recommend. And we'll talk about different ways of doing that, but even commercial ones where kids can notice patterns of numbers. That really comes in handy. Too, with the real world kitchen tools, measuring cups, and all those types of things, those, of course, are all math. I also have a little dice and a dice. So kids can roll one and see what number it is and mark it or play games with it. Or you can roll several and add them together or take away. And there's all kinds of math engagements with dice. So we'll talk more about those. Um, these pens and pencils, all kinds of pencils and pens, Sharpies. Kids love using highlighters of different sizes and colors. pens and colored pencils, all of those things too. So this is representing some of the science areas. So really you're thinking about your kids as readers, writers, mathematicians, scientists, social scientists with those maps. And whether you have fancy Petri dishes or vials or simply mason jars are great places to collect things. And for kids, anything can be a collection, whether it's shells or rocks, or whether you're collecting dirt or some specimens from the water. If you happen to walk to a pond, you'll be able to do all kinds of things with science with those things. Um, on the PDF too, I talk about water dropper, but there's all kinds of tweezers, and think about the fine motor skills for something like that. Balloons, of course, are going to come in handy, and all kinds of little vials and tools and things to catch information. It's a cool mannequin. And when we were studying colors and light, the kids used all kinds of flashlights and colored acetate to make all kinds of scenes around this guy, and then put him in different positions and shine the lights from different areas. It was incredible, a really neat scientific investigation, and of course art to capture the way people move and to think about parts of bodies and how they work. And so cool things for science and art. And then there's always those really neat field guides, research field guides and resources like this. Not something that you'd read all at one time, but certainly something you could look at. Kids could choose one a day and you pick and learn information. And of course, on the back, there's things like maps on a lot of them. So you can see there are really. So you can see where those birds and animals, presidents, they have all kinds of those. Um, Magnifiers are really important in our world. Things too like binoculars and goggles, we always loved having as well. And just capturing things, setting them around, putting them in dishes so kids pay attention so they can sketch and notice and really do some real world investigations with those. And of course, colored pencils and pastels. So hopefully you've just been able to sit back and look and think and maybe list some things that you know you have right now, or even better, suggestions that you have for the rest of us. Because if you're like me, I've picked up a lot of these ideas over the last 10, 20, almost 30 years of teaching. And there's so many things that kids are intrigued by that we just use as adults and don't think anything about, but there's such learning potential for kids there. So, my challenge for you today is to walk around your world, whether it's at school or at home, the garage, the garden, look around, see what you have, and see what you can use as a resource for your real world classroom. And put it in the comments below so that all of us can gain ideas from each other. It's just going to make all of our worlds a lot better.